played Dota 2 for thousands of hours, but you've always wanted something more. A reason to fight, a deeper meaning to your battles. But to know the hidden history of Dota 2, you must go on an adventure of a lifetime. An adventure into the lore!
At the end of part 1, we talked about Kunkka, Tidehunter, and Maelron, and how their entire lives were entwined with the theft of the Gem of True Sight. However, they may not be the only ones who were affected. Who stole the gem in the first place? Remember the Slithereen guards and the Deep Ones? Naga Siren was banished from her people because of her failure at the Battle of Cray, a battle where Leviathans attacked the sunken city of Cray. Despite being defeated, a lone chalice was stolen, meaning that Naga had failed and was cast out until she could find the missing chalice. A chalice, by the way, is a fancy cup, typically made fancy by being decorated with gems. Now, we only know one Leviathan in this game, and we know that he fought for his god, who at one time acquired the Gem of True Sight. Do you believe in headcanon, boy? You better, 'cause you're about to get some. We mentioned earlier that Slark was a Slithereen, but he was more physically on our scale human rather than fish, much like a tiny Leviathan. What if the attack on Cray by the Leviathan was simply a distraction, a big battle with lumbering Leviathans distracting the Slithereen guard while one sneaky little half-Leviathan fish infiltrated Cray in the chaos and stole the one thing that Maelron actually desired, the chalice adorned with the Gem of True Sight. The only thief that could bypass the elite guards of the Deep One's gaze, like Slardar's ult, and make it out under the shadows of darkness. That is what Slark was, after all, a thief, able to hide in the shadows, leap around, and escape from enemies. Darkreef Prison made the thief a killer, true, but originally, he was just good at being in the shadows, but more on him later. Slark steals the Chalice of True Sight during the Battle of Cray. Naga Siren is banished until the chalice is found. Slardar, friend of Naga Siren, according to voice lines, follows her to the surface. The Deep Ones are permitted to journey away from sunken treasures as long as they are in relentless pursuit of anyone who had stolen from it. In short, Slardar hunts Slark, who he knows took the gem from the deep. Returning the gem would end Naga's exile and allow her to return, but unbeknownst to them both, the gem was already delivered to Maelron, who extracted it and shoved it in a beast for safekeeping. The beast, who Kunkka's crew found, removing the gem, escaping to the shore as Tidehunter chased them. All 5 of these characters connected to one special object. Whew! Now that is a story. Headcanon's over. But what is the deal with the Gem of True Sight? Why is it so special? This is the real mystery. The mystery of Maelron. So let's get into the lore behind the big guy himself. Maelron the Tentacular is an extremely confusing figure in the lore. He is described as a Cthulhian-like beast, a creature with massive tentacles who resides in a gigantic whirlpool of his own creation. New busts of a tentacled-faced creature have appeared lately in game, and I would assume that these depict the face of Maelron. Wow, that's pretty scary, right? An abyssal god whose very body can be summoned by his devout followers, with Tidehunter's ult calling upon a weaker version of him, and Tide once calling on the god himself to show and destroy Kunkka's fleet. A god whose followers raid entire cities to tribute for him, like what happened at Cray. Yet strangely, this Cthulhian god might not actually be a bad guy. You remember this guy? Your guide in Stiltbreaker Act 1, who everybody murders. When he sees you, he says, "Praise Maelron," as if he is saying, "Thank God you made it." Praise Maelron, the Cthulhian beast? Why would anybody praise Maelron? Perhaps because Maelron isn't inherently bad at all. Maelron is the god of the seas. In fact, he may be responsible for them. Naga talks a lot about hunting down and killing Maelron, for good reason, as she is sworn to protect against his crazy followers. But she has a strange line where she states that he who cracked the world shall hear her song and weep.
He who cracked the shell of the world shall hear my song and weep.
Now, of course, out of context, that sounds like she is hunting Elder Titan, but she wants to find the one who cracked the world, not shattered it. Loregasm, of nature's prophet lore, the god of creation and life, was said to pull water from the rocks of the planet, pulling waters below the crust. Perhaps Maelron isn't just a god of the ocean, perhaps he was the one who created the ocean itself, cracking open the shell of the planet and letting the water seep through to the surface, creating the deep waters that all Marantha life live in. This would also explain the great whirlpool of where he resides, as he transferred the vast waters beneath the planet to the surface and resides in the hole that he created, preventing the water from returning via the crack he had made. If this is the case, then Maelron is not inherently evil. In fact, he is basically the personification of the sea itself, the god of the waters, as Loregasm is the god of the forest. But unlike the forest, which is calm and nourishing, the seas are known to be cruel as they are beautiful, and Maelron may be just like them, giving life to all those who call the sea home, but whose cruelty is as turbulent as the waves, which is why the Gem of True Sight would be so important. Control. Imagine, if you will, that you could control the very god of nature itself. On the surface, things aren't that bad, a tornado here, an earthquake there, but generally speaking, we have plenty of ways to manipulate nature's forces. But if you lived under the sea, you'd be at the mercy of water at all times. It could choose to let you be, or it can destroy your entire city with violent torrents at its will. The only way to be safe, truly safe, would be to control the oceans yourself, which is to say, control the god of the oceans and bring him under your society's heel. This is the secret of the Gem of True Sight. Maelron is the lurker in the whirlpool, unable to be seen, but his effects are felt across the oceans and even the land from his disciples. If an object existed that could show the god, then the god could be fought. The god could be captured, even controlled. Perhaps this is the code of the Slithereen, their entire society an offshoot of Marantha who are dedicated to the battle against Maelron. Not to destroy him, but to control him and ensure their race's safety. The treasures they hoard are not gold and silver, but weapons of war which can aid them in their fight. The Gem of True Sight, hidden in a goblet, the most powerful new weapon of them all. A weapon which could actually reveal the physical form of their enemy for the first time. So Maelron had to act. Steal the gem and keep it safe. He sent his loyal Leviathan army to Cray to distract them in an epic battle, while one of his most loyal followers was sent in the back lines. Good old Slark. Remember how we said that Slark was referred to as a Slithereen in his lore, but doesn't look like any of the other ones? Perhaps that's because he's a mix between a Slithereen and a Leviathan. Bipedal legs, hands, fishy face, he's something in between, and he's also blessed with the powers of Maelron to call forth when he sees fit, just like Tidehunter. Slark's Shadow Dance may be a power from Maelron, just like Ravage, an inky cloud much like what a squid would discharge to stay hidden. And guess what? Many describe Maelron as a squid or octopus-like creature. You can even hear Slark chanting to someone while using his spells.
Slivery form calls on the power of the deep to make them.
This must be what clouds the whirlpool and why the gem is so desperately needed to find the sea god. Sure, the gem can't see Slark when you have it, but you only hold it for so long. We know that long exposure to the gem can produce exponential benefits, as we see with Kunkka. The Gem of True Sight is the one weapon that could not be allowed to remain in Slithereen hands. So there you go, the story of the god of the sea. His subjects war to control him, and the loyal followers he uses to steal their weapons, the sailor who finds it, and the monster who hunts them down. All of these characters connected by one powerful relic, the Gem of True Sight. Wait. Why the hell are we talking about this as a prequel to Siltbreaker, you might be asking? Because, my friends, the Siltbreaker might just be the missing piece out of all of this. We have covered everything from the poem, all the characters, except for one. The creature in which the gem was hidden, the large beast that Kunkka's crew bore through to claim the gem. For the first time, the creature may have been revealed to us. It is Siltbreaker. Check out these pictures of the beast. In each one you can clearly see a giant hole in its chest, and if you've been paying attention, you know what it might be from. Maelron decided that the best way to protect the gem was to hide it inside one of his most fearsome beasts. But that beast was defeated and his body beached on shores where he could be plundered by a group of sailors. This is confirmed as lore, but my theory is that Siltbreaker was that creature, and this is why our mission is so important. Does the Siltbreaker campaign take place place before the gem was extracted, and we play as the heroes who defeated him and left his corpse on the shore of that hidden beach? Or has the gem already been taken from his body, and his body regenerated as Slithereen are known to do? Or am I wrong on both? Was he a weapon created by the Conclave, a group of Slithereen extremists, by infusing the gem with one of their own who became lost in his own power? Well, you'll need to tune into the next episode to find out, where we discuss the lore we discover in Siltbreaker itself. But for now, with all this info on background, you know enough to get started into the world under the waves. Until then, raise your sails, ready yourself, and go out in that great big ocean of lore! Thanks for watching Loregasm. It's always a pleasure and a fun video that we had this time. We have a lot of Siltbreaker stuff to go through. I cannot wait. A personal moment here. I'd like to say thank you to Valve for making this great world that we get to interact with and expand upon. I know most of your Dota players don't care. It's all the competitive aspect with them. But for me, and I know others, mostly people that are watching this video, being able to be in this universe, see the stories, it just makes playing the game so much better. So, shout out to them for doing a lore-themed campaign, and a big shout out to our Patreon members who helped make this video possible, and who actually physically helped make the video. Scott Ward and Randall Reed, big shout out to you guys for helping out with the editing and adding in some stuff after the script was finished. They were able to see that script by being on the Patreon, so if you want to help make Loregasm better, go ahead and do that, and you can do just what they did. Also, of course, shout out to our fantastic editor, Casimir, Jones, everybody else associated with the Slacks content team now, David, the graphics guy, who likes to make us beautiful graphics, so thank you, David. Anyway, thank you for watching Loregasm. If you would like to be part of it, check out the Patreon, and if you like viewing it only, just go ahead and enjoy the show. See you guys next time for the next Loregasm.